Hey everybody, clearing. All right, so I'm going to do a spine of fire reading. So going through all the chakras from the crown down onto the root, and both counterparts, the masculines on the left, feminines on the right. Let's get into it. So thank you, Divine Creator, for using me as a channel of only the highest, most beneficial information coming through. What can we see for the counterparts that join me here? What is being cleared on all of the chakra levels? What can we see for the emotions connected with what's going on each level? And how are each of the counterparts experiencing these energies? And what would they say to each other or bring to light from their side of the energy for their counterpart? Actually, that was a little bit messy. When it splits and it's messy like that, I feel like things are changing in real time. That was much more crisp for the masculines. And how are the feminines experiencing everything? And what is hidden, or what would they want to share with their masculine? All right, lots of shuffling. What can we see for crown chakra? So we have seal of clairsentience, clarity, knowledge, channeling, and unification. Okay, coming into union together, channeling ramps up. Not because we're coming into union, but because union comes in when we master, when we align, when we refine, when we clarify ourselves. Union is synonymous with that mastery. Everything that is the highest expression on our highest timelines comes in as we come into mastery. So unification internally brings in union readiness in these connections, and with the divine crown chakra, it brings us into union with source, God creator, and that aligns with everything else we do in life. So what's being cleared? King of Cups. I'm hearing emotional stoicism. So as we come into this channeling, a lot of times we don't feel comfortable talking about emotions. Most of the times when emotions make us feel bad, it's because we're in attachment, in suffering, and it's actually BS. It's not even legitimate emotions. It's misguided, it's turmoil, it's fabrication, it's craziness, it's illusion. When we are balanced, when we come into the appropriate perspectives, we no longer are deluded, confused, bogged down by crazy making emotions. Because we know what is what, we can see clearly. We can understand. So over emotionality or aloofness, keeping emotional awareness at bay, fearing emotions, all of that's being cleared. What is the emotion here? Discipline. I can accomplish what I set my mind to. So this is on the crown chakra. So it feels like divine free will is aligning with divine will, and the coast is clearing. Like it's safer. There seems to be more result for incentive. What are the masculines experiencing? Open-mindedness. Okay, so this emotional stoicism, it's been like aloof in the energy, and now the masculines are open to navigating emotions, understanding, clarity, union, with discipline, going all in, because it's safe. There's a higher guidance system here, so it's not of the lower quagmire of emotions. There's a safety here. So masculines are authentically open to this. What would they say to their feminine? Ace of Pentacles. So this is a brand new experience for the masculines. Ace of Pentacles in the upright can be an external, like an offer. Internally, this is a brand new beginning for the masculines. Internally, where they're actually witnessing themselves being open to this emotional safety and going all in these connections. These connections have been refining and cultivating an ability for both to show up without the victim blame, without war between the two, karmic battles between the two. What are the feminines experiencing in this energy? Oh, the King of Cups. So feminines might be going through some emotional processing right now. For some, there's tears. For some, there's ego death. For some, there is really bringing to the forefront the frustrations. This can also be having the freedom to really express what is in there. I know a lot of feminines in this energy are feeling like they're at their wits' end with these connections, hanging on to them or waiting. And that's good, because that's a breaking point where those energies, those attitudes need to be let go. The control issues, the clinging, anything that feels bad, that makes the feminines feel bad, needs to be addressed. It needs to be managed by the feminine's mastery. It's not on the masculines for you feminines to balance your emotions out regarding your connections. It's not your masculine's job to protect you from your emotional responses. If you're having emotional responses that are suffering, it is within your ability to go to source and balance out the appropriate action or interpretation so that you are taking care of putting yourself, leaning in or taking a step back from things that feel good or don't feel good to you. It's not on your masculine. So it does feel like there's a wave of self-regulation for the feminines right now. What would the feminines like to tell the masculines? That there is a transformation underway here, where this emotional composure can come in so that there can be unification here. So masculines have never felt safer to be able to handle connection on all levels, and the feminines have never been more masterful or authentic with what is coming up for them and taking care of their own responses. A new skill set and a bunch of tools are being adopted by the feminines so that there isn't a codependency here. It goes hand in hand with the masculines wanting to show up more genuinely into the connections. The feminines are also taking more accountability for their own emotional volatility. What can we see on the third eye chakra? Chamber of Initiation, spiritual gifts, mystery, enchantment, and secrets. 55. So there's an up-leveling of intuitive gifts here, of being able to have this clarity, source-derived, channeled clarity coming in from the crown chakra. Both are intending to overcome blockages. The feminines are overcoming emotional blockages. The masculines are overcoming stoicism and refraining from connecting because of the concern for over emotionality. And so here, when these things are set straight, there is a new intuitive ability coming in, because that density of things that aren't authentic or essential is being removed. And so the intuition is freed up to see things more accurately, to feel into, to perceive a new layer of secrets that weren't available to us when we were more distracted by surface level considerations. What's being cleared? 7 of Pentacles, Lord of Success Unfulfilled. the idea that things haven't worked, or that things have failed, or that things won't result in positive outcomes here, that's being cleared. We're seeing that on the crown chakra, both counterparts are being given a second wind. Feminines for clearing and balancing their own emotions. This is allowing you, feminines, to clear away the idea that you're being rejected or not chosen. And as you manage your emotions, that's clearing the way for you to see the blessings that were previously in disguise when you were in limerence or too emotional or romanticizing these connections. There's a layer here that's being cleared, and true spiritual benefit is being seen. That can be that these connections have tempered your emotions and caused you to take more accountability for your own well-being and happiness, to see how capable you are, that you don't need a knight in shining armor, that you can soothe yourself, that things that haven't worked out were actually blessings in disguise in the past. And masculines, this is also you validating your intuition as well, that you haven't just been the bad guy for holding back here, for refraining from going all in sooner. That idea that you have screwed it up, that it's all on your shoulders, that's being removed here. And you're going to, masculines, get some divine intel or further clarity on some of the benefits of you having held back thus far. What can we see for the emotion? Pride. I love myself and I see myself in everyone. Okay, so I'm getting this is about the mirroring. It's so easy to presume that if something doesn't come together or work out, that it's the other one's fault, or they've been playing games, or there's been something to pin on them. This is saying it's mirrored. I see myself in others, in everyone. And so if there are things we need to clear on our side of the energy, or lack of faith or disbelief, or a hardened heart, or karmic responsibilities or accountability, if there are things on our side, no matter what we think we're perceiving on someone else's side, it's secondary to us taking the initiative to do what we need to first person. So this is the compassion that's starting to show each counterpart, that just when they think it's all one or the other of us, that it's actually mirrored. How are the masculines experiencing this? They're going more to the altar. They're seeking higher guidance. They're asking for understanding rather than seeing through the lens of judgment or woundedness. They're stepping aside and asking for clarity. Through free will, this is the intuitive equipment that they are now adopting in order to receive higher guidance and to feel safe to go deeper into these connections intimately, with emotions, with thoughts, with actions, deeds. They're being guided now because they're asking. What would they say to their feminine? I miss you, do you? They're not longing so much anymore. They're seeing the productive aspect of this journey. Ask and it is given. They're now getting their direction in how to approach these unions on Most High. Instead of feeling like they have to know it all or figure it all out and lead these connections, they're going higher for that leadership guidance. What can we see for the feminines? The moon in the inverse. So there's a lot of depth coming to the surface here. A lot of admitting that there has been many unsuccessful attempts. This can be the chasing energy, the fear. Personal accountability. Anything that the feminines have been deluding themselves with, I'm hearing, is coming to light as a final purging of expectations and clinging and control. There's a softening on both sides. What would the feminines like the masculines to know? Strength, that they are getting a handle on this, masculines, that your feminines have never felt more stable, more grounded, more sure, more easygoing, more fluid in a connection than they do in these connections, even if they're having some kind of purge right now. They're really seeing this progress intuitively. They're understanding the inner workings of their growth process and how it's all connected to the journey. What can we see on the throat chakra? Temple of meditation, communion, contemplation, higher mind. It does feel like communication, whether it's telepathic or in the physical, it feels like communication is being pared down to the essential. What's being cleared? Knight of Cups, Lord of the Waves and Waters. The need to prioritize self-love as a foundation that needed to be laid. When we started these journeys, we didn't have as much self-love as we have now. The need to focus primarily on self-love and refrain from focusing on these connections is being cleared. It feels as though we're switching into having anchored enough self-love to now start safely coming together to give and receive love interpersonally. What is the emotion here? Death. I'm learning that endings are merely beginnings. A lot of gratitude coming in for the spaciousness that the counterparts have afforded each other in this process of coming together and taking steps back and coming back together and taking steps back. It's like the breathing and the pulse of these connections. That spaciousness and respect and honor and internal processing, solo, sovereign, that's not going to change coming into union. That has to be set as a baseline so that it's a healthy ebb and flow, an agreement, a flow with each other coming into sacred union. So it feels like there's going to be possibly some gratitude expressed between the two, that there has this chord has been struck. This harmonic chord has been recognized, that there is a coming together, and I just keep doing this. There's a certain kind of rhythm being established that suits each counterpart. I just saw 1818. What can we see for the masculines regarding this? We have this communication card in the inverse. So I feel like they've been holding back, withholding communication, or rushing in. They've had some epiphanies, I just heard, and they've been wanting to share these things with their feminines, but they've been holding back, and I just heard like a tantalizing slow burn. It's like they're savoring the things that they are becoming aware of in these connections for going deep together, I just heard. It's like they're collecting a scrapbook of their favorite nuanced, subtle, luscious things on this journey, and they're going to unpack it over your lifetime, I just heard. There's no rush. What would they say? I need time for me, but it's in the inverse. So the time of holding you at arm's length or keeping back from coming together more fully is nearing its productive phase. These masculines know that they're always going to have respect in these connections because you have demonstrated that you respect them, feminines. And so they don't feel like they have to rush. Just like when the feminines chase, they feel like they have to say their final piece or they may never get a chance. The masculines are also learning that they don't have to be impulsive like that either, and that they can trust the energy, the magnetism of these connections. They can trust that and let it continue to unfold naturally. They're seeing some kind of a progress here that the feminines don't necessarily focus on typically. The masculines are because I'm a feminine, I'm trying to tune into it, but it feels something like circumstances, like worlds colliding. They're seeing crossover that's happening without them having to initiate it. They're seeing things orchestrated in your lives, feminines, where I'm even hearing the relationship is going through markers that typically only people that are in a physical 3D relationship go through. That there are things occurring in your connection that are milestones that are typically associated with traditional 3D relationships. These connections are going through those markers regardless of being in a traditional style relationship or not. There's a deepening, it feels a little bit abstract to my mind, but these masculines are seeing it very clearly as definite progress markers. That will differ for each connection. What are the feminines experiencing here on the throat chakra? They're opening their heart. So this can mean that the feminines are less guarded. They have less of a filter. They have less to lose. They're feeling more supported by the connections. And so they're really showing their vulnerability. I heard they're going out on a limb. And it's not necessarily, they might have been guarded or skeptical about how the masculines would have interpreted their actions, their words, if they had been the way that they are now in the past. And now they know that they are pure and aligned, and so it's safe, not because there is a safety net externally, but because they have done the work to become very authentic. And so now it's anyone else's problem if they have a problem with anything. The feminine's alignment is their own protection right now. What would they say to the masculines? Ace of Cups, nothing but love. So the feminines would really heartfelt communicate to you masculines that everything they're doing right now, they're doing it because it feels right to them. And if there's anything questionable that you see your feminine or hear your feminine doing, that it really is coming from this place of unconditional non-attachment, love. And so the feminines have never been more righteous in the flow. What can we see on the heart chakra? Galactic transporter, adventure, exploration, discovery. Wide open to adventure. What's being cleared on the heart level? Princess of the Shining Flame, Princess of Wands. The ego navigation. This is the same Page of Wands card that the masculines got for ask and it is given. So needing to navigate these things through ego is being cleared and the heart is coming to the forefront. What is the emotion connected with that? Courage. I find the inner strength to face fear with confidence. Wide open, heart-led living. What are the masculines experiencing? They're seeing certain things set to go forward. This is the Chariot. I'm hearing a lot of behind the scenes movement. So it may not look like go time for these connections in the physical together, but the stage is being set massively. I know you from somewhere. So the masculines want to clear whatever they're navigating right now and then sort of surprise you. I'm hearing at a public event, when you least suspect it, it feels like they want to just pop up. Travel could be involved with the Chariot here. This is also giving surprise trip. Surprise popping up somewhere. So this adventure, spontaneity, it feels like the masculines are getting the courage to pop up on you, feminines. How are the feminines experiencing? Queen of Wands in the inverse. So you're anchoring your embodiment. This is like my temple embodiment. Your spirituality is deepening. Your worthiness is really on a heart level here. I'm being reminded of this emotional purging or some layer of acceptance that the feminines have been seeking to want to be chosen so badly by their masculine. This is choosing yourself, feminines, knowing you're worthy whether this masculine chooses you or not, that you're brave, that you're open to the adventure of life regardless of the outcome here in these connections, that you're really plugging into source and self here, and that you are adoring yourself regardless. It happens when you least suspect it, right? This is you coming into your wholeness. You're good on your own. What would you want to say to your masculines? Four of Swords. You're just resting. You're allowing an integration. Feminines are allowing an integration of who they know themselves to be. And that is causing them to be courageous for whatever will come next in life. For many, there is something in the energy where they are going through a bit of an ego death about expecting union, imminent union, or putting too much assumption in how union will play out. There is just a coming back into not needing to know, and resting on that is what I can feel. What is on the solar plexus chakra? Merkaba matrix, light body expansion, illuminated presence. So this courage, this heartfelt, aligned courage is emanating through the confidence, the surety, the capacity, the ability of the counterparts to be navigating out in the world right now. I'm actually hearing that both counterparts are in leadership in their own way out in the world, and it's influencing and catching the attention of those souls around them that would benefit from seeing somebody heart-led. What is being cleared? The Lovers. Choice, other choices, children of the divine voice. Walking to the beat of everybody else's drum is being cleared. Channeling things straight from source, being a light in the world, representing the divine, being a diplomat under heaven, representing divinity, channeling that through, unafraid. That is what is coming here with the light expansion, the light body expansion. What is the emotion? Relationships. I'm attracted to those people who serve my higher good. So the counterparts are becoming instruments for the higher good. And that is in all kinds of things: family dynamics, friend groups, career, life purpose, relationships, children. All of it, the counterparts are empowered now to advocate for the divine. They have been entrusted with the divine vision, the voice of the divine. They are becoming the change they wish to see in the world. What are the masculines experiencing? The end of anxiety. This empowerment that comes from source is calming the masculines' overthinking. I am in so much pain. Wow, that's the same kind of card. It's all being wiped away. Something has happened here for the masculines where all of the, dare I say, sin and anguish and confusion is being like washed away, or this light body, this light switch has gone on and it's clearing out the suffering. So feminines, your masculines would like to tell you that they are becoming new. They're purifying. They're seeing themselves moving out of angst and suffering. They are understanding whatever their rite of passage right now is causing them to see themselves as worthy and capable. It's like a phoenix rising energy here. All of the imposter syndrome and insecurities are being let go of for this group of masculines. What can we see for the feminines? There's something immediate where feminines are learning to see the divine angle of things, to advocate for that without having to do it in hindsight. It's like closing the gap. In real time, the feminines aren't going into suffering. In general, in their lives, there is this purge in the connections still, because maybe they thought these unions would have come together by now, and those who were more attached to that kind of thing might be having a little bit more of a difficult time in this energy. But regardless, for all of the feminines, there seems to be a more immediate ability to see the higher good playing out in scenarios or circumstances in the now, instead of being confused by those things. There's more of a immediate understanding and judgment. If this has not occurred for the feminines, it's being shown to them right now. Relationships, being attracted to those who serve my highest good. There's something for many feminines where there are some relationships that are being released right now, or aspects of even these divine relationships where the feminines were clinging to falsehoods. That's what it feels like here. So for some, it's going to feel like a purge. For some, it's just going to be a breath of fresh air or a lightening on the heart, like an aha moment. Some in the collective have more tears with the particular awareness they're going to have. Some will think not much of it and it will be more in flow. But it feels like across the board for the feminines right now, there's something that by choosing themselves, they're seeing a faulty belief structure that they have even had in these connections that was not necessarily true. And that illusion is being seen through. For some, it's like no biggie. And for some, depending on where their karmic path of clearing is in the big picture, there's a more difficult one to see. What can we see here for the sacral chakra? Spiral of life, movement, opening and unfolding. So there is an opening in the sacral chakra. I just heard hubba hubba. So there's something being cleared. Many times it's just not that easy to align sexually, intimately in these connections, because they are righteous connections, they're divine. If we were to come together and force the intimate connection prematurely, it wouldn't be of benefit in the connections. So we have these sort of non-linear precursors, establishments. It feels like there's going to be, like I'm seeing it all being tied up in a bow. It feels like a lot of non-linear memories or experiences are going to start making more sense about why these connections haven't necessarily kicked off sexually yet. There's something about consummating it once there is enough clarity and wisdom and truth discovered here, where both can recognize the significance and the sacred aspect of these connections. It feels like the sacred awareness of these connections is coming into focus. What's being cleared? Lord of perfected success. Thinking that things had to be perfect and served on a silver platter is what I just heard. That it wouldn't need to have diligence and discernment, that with true love it should have been more fluid sexually, like kick off and then never stop again. But you need alignment for that. So it seems like it's going towards being able to finally have come through all of the testing that would indicate whether people could say confidently that they honor and respect and have seen that their counterpart, it can stand the test of time through good times and bad, sickness and in health, etc. So it feels like there is an acknowledgement that these connections warrant going all in on that depth, and that it's naive to think that you meet someone, it's love at first sight, and then you never have to have a deeper understanding of how to appreciate that. It feels like when we're initiated on these connections, that there's a lot more awareness to unearth before we are accountable and entrusted for the long term. But it feels like that qualification is coming in for the collective. Indecision. I use my intuition in all aspects of life. So up until now, it has been indecisive. And it's not because of rejection or because it wasn't appropriate, but it just wasn't time yet, because there were certain things that hadn't been connected, correlated, aligned. Certain things had to play out so that more information was anchored. How are the masculines experiencing this? The burden is insight. The end of the burden is insight. This can be moving. It feels like masculines have had to pack up and go somewhere. It feels like whatever has caused the masculines to have to relocate or travel or take care of something at a distance, that this is part of that karmic rite of passage that's going to free the masculines up to fully step onto purpose once they've learned what they need to from their karma, from their accountability, from them stepping into this mastery, this final mastery class, and take care of things in the material realm that require them to be ambassadors of the divine, the voice of the divine, out into the world through these decisions and obligations and duties that they're taking care of right now. They're not escaping their karma to become codependent in these connections. They're really righteous in what they are navigating. Listen to your heart. So even though they would love nothing more than to run to these connections, they are staying the course with what they know they need to do, and they're listening to their heart for that guidance. So feminines, ye of little faith, they're not pushing you away. They have to do their best with whatever they're cleaning up, or it's like the torch has been passed to them. The 10 of Wands reduces to the Ace of Wands. That's like the torch, the Olympic torch. Generationally speaking, or karmically speaking, on behalf of humanity, the Jedi stuff, these masculines are utilizing their heart to navigate. They're not just going through the motions of karma. They're not just going through the duty of what's on their plate. They're actually using their heart to navigate things righteously. I heard give them some credit. The divine says, give your masculines some credit. See through the divine eyes. If this is truly a divine masculine, if you truly see this person that you are connected to as a divine masculine, give them some credit and seek to see the righteousness in their actions. Put yourself in their shoes. Understand through the eyes of the divine how phenomenal and incredible these masculines really are. If that does not describe your masculine, what are you doing? You don't have to cling to somebody that is not extraordinarily suited for you or of a high frequency. What are the feminines experiencing here? Inner bravery and courage. So in face of the indecision, feminines, it's like there's just such a surrender to the process here. Again, I'm hearing it's going to all make sense soon. So remember, if you can see your masculine as noble and taking care of business on their side of the energy, if you see their character, stay brave, stay true, because that is a good indicator that it's not that they're rejecting you, it's that they are becoming their full potential, and it is in tandem with you becoming your full potential. What would the feminines say to the masculines? Knight of Wands. The feminines are learning to believe that there is something elevating here. This is also the player energy. It's in the inverse. So some of the emotionality that the feminines are having is also shedding the skepticism and the fear that you're out there with other options, masculines. I'm hearing it's not about excuses. So the feminines are experiencing relief from the paranoia and skepticism of karmic past histories where the karmic partners have been betraying them, cheating, out there up to no good. And for the feminines in this collective, they are seeing you masculines as not self-soothing by running to temporary sexual partners, etc. They're really believing that if you are a match for them, that it's moving into the direction of monogamy here. These feminines are being brave also, that if you are entertaining multiple options, that they don't have to hurt themselves by telling themselves they have to cling to someone that isn't choosing them. But for the vast majority in this collective, the feminines are coming into peace, that they're actually starting to see you as somebody that they don't believe is out there up to no good. So feminines, just know that your true divine counterpart is finding their way, and to stay in your center about knowing what you desire and what you're worth, and don't hurt yourself by telling yourself you're somehow unworthy if somebody else isn't there yet. What can we see for the root chakra? Gate of returning, entrance, death, rebirth, and passage. So there does seem to be something coming back around. I do feel this is the magnetic pull in these connections. It does feel like something's grounding into the physical and coming in. This rite of passage with the masculines, this emotional clearing with the feminines. Now, emotional clearing can be in a visceral, physical level too. It can be health and wellness. It can be hormones balancing. It can be so many things, aha moments intellectually. It doesn't just have to be over emotionality, but our bodies and our minds hold emotions in different ways. So if you're not overly emotional right now, feminines, it could be functioning in other ways, but there seems to be a clearing going on. The last judgment, This is the Judgment card right before the final ascension. So there are a lot of things being seen to be cleared so that these connections can ground into the physical. Failure. I understand that a mistake is only an opportunity to learn. So our eyes are all being opened to the things that haven't worked out in the past in these connections and in other connections. And when we just look at those perceived failures and are able to confidently see the factors, the aspects of those things that resulted in failure, when we can see that for what it is, we don't have to be worried that it will reoccur. It's when we're oblivious to the patterns that they still arise. But when we can see them for what they are, we don't need those lessons anymore. So right now, no matter what's coming up, whether it's circumstances out in the world, masculines, or emotional processing and final balancing for you, feminines, just the fact that we're seeing things is a very good indicator that those cycles and patterns are working their way out and making room for these unions to be coming in. What can we see for the masculines? Preparing for this leap of faith. So there's a little bit of your own personal ego and folly to be seen right now. I'm hearing smug attitudes. So whatever the rite of passage is that you're going through, it's also humbling, masculines. What would the masculines say to the feminines? I'm open to compromise. It's in the inverse. Masculines, they're saying they don't need to compromise anymore. It's pure alignment. In the past, when they were in foolishness or misconceptions, naivety, they would have thought they would lose their freedom or have to compromise. When they see this foolishness or the folly, the fault in their logic, they no longer need to compromise because the confusion is cleared up and whatever they were ego attached to no longer is relevant, and therefore it doesn't have to be worked around. 2 thumbs up for that, masculines. Heck yeah. What can we see for the feminines? This is better than you could ever imagine, feminines. Let go of all your woes. What would the feminines say to the masculines? Knight of Cups. Your feminines are really being brave right now and loving themselves. And you know that they are superhuman, masculines. You know they do not handle this connection like karmic feminine energies do. And feminines, you should be so proud of your composure, your self-regulation, your self-love. Good job, teams. Many blessings. Bye for now.